The old Marlo is back. Old messy, messy Marlo. I said, now how you do a whole flip just that quick, Marlo, and bring your stinking behind to New York City and act a fool? Hey guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. This is my review for Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 12, episode 4. As I said, old messy Marlo's back. We got to see a different side of Marlo a couple weeks ago. And that didn't last long. She's a messy, bone-carrying, going in between the friends, chit-chatting, trying to get information cow. I said, look at her. Look at her. So somebody give me a stick. Just a mess. Anyway, let's go back to Pride. From the door, Cynthia and Nene are worked. Both of them. They're both worked. They're both hurt. And they both petty. But the only difference is we knew Nene was petty. And now Cynthia is stepping into her petty groove. But we're going to see how long it lasts. But they both are hurt. And they both miss each other in that broken up, twisted, strange friendship they have. I said, what is this? You walked all the way over there on a moving float just so you can go up there and half speak. And make sure that she half spoke to you. Because that's all it was about. That's all it was about. Because you wasn't going to let it be said, Nene, that y'all rode the float and Cynthia didn't come and speak to you. So you made sure you went over there because you were worked and you didn't want to be completely worked. Girl, you patty boots. Patty boots. Why didn't you stay over on the other side and see if she come to you? Because she wasn't. Y'all catch that? Did y'all catch it? Cynthia wouldn't have went over there to speak to Nene. Nene made sure she got up into Cynthia's space. And also, Cynthia and them looked like they were having a better time than Nene. And y'all know Nene is a killjoy. Anyway, moving on. Portia went back to the counselor by herself. And the counselor gave her some good advice. Portia wants to cut it, period. Like, she's pissed. She wants to cut Dennis out altogether. And the counselor's telling her, honey, if you have a man who wants to be there for your child, you need to kind of let him do that. You need to learn how to do what we call co-parenting, honey. Not this, I understand you're hurt. It's going to take some time for you to get over it. But no, honey, if you got a man that wants to be a parent, let him be a parent. Good advice. And I understand she's hurt. She's embarrassed. And that's the biggest part of her problem. I think she's really more embarrassed than anything else. More embarrassed than anything else because people told you. And of all people, Candy told you about Dennis and his cheating, conniving ways. Anyway, moving on. Candy and Kenya were together. And Kenya had started to tell Candy a little bit of what was going on. Candy pulled together that there are really some problems going on in that marriage. And you could see that Candy's wheels were spinning. And she could tell that it was deeper than what Kenya was saying. And she's right. It's really bad. That whole thing with her and Mark, it's really bad. And, you know, from this episode, I'm like, y'all know I ain't even no Kenya fan. And I'm like, girl, you need to run. Like, you need to get away and run from him because something ain't right. This ain't no different than, what was the little guy's name? I forgot his name that fast. The one she was dealing with that broke the window and was doing all the crazy stuff that she was screwed in the truck. Matt. Mark don't seem no different than Matt to me. I don't know, it could just be me. But I say he don't like her. I think he loves Brooklyn, but I don't think he even cares for Kenya. Like, seriously. Matt loved Kenya. Like, he loved Kenya to the point of jacking her up. I think Mark just don't like her, and if she get wrong, he might just jack her up because he really don't like her. You know, I'm like, I don't know about him. Anyway, moving on. Like I said, Candy could tell that there's a little more going on than this was being said. You know, child, Candy now. Candy's a queen on the inside, honey. She knows. It's not about what's being said. It's about what's not being said. Come on through, Candy. Anyway, moving on. Cynthia and Eva go to dinner after the whole Pride thing. Cynthia didn't tell Eva that Marlo was coming. Listen, Eva don't have it for Marlo at all this season. Like, she literally has not, just don't got it for Marlo. Marlo showed up. Child, Eva was like, honey, can you wrap this together? I mean, she didn't pull no punches at all. She had the people wrap her food up. She went to a different part. She didn't leave the restaurant. She went to a different section in the restaurant. She's like, I am not sitting with that whore. And she meant it. And Marla was like, girl, you know, we're like sisters. She was like, girl, sisters, you got either Mandrill sisters, because you ain't none of my goddamn sister, honey. I said, bye. I'm paraphrasing. That's what she meant. That's what she meant, honey. You must be Barbara and them sister whore, because you're not my sister, honey. I said, oh. So she's like, oh, I want some of that. More, she wasn't even shady, because that was a $175 meal. It was $175 or $178. She said, honey, take some of that duck off of there and leave that on that plate for her. Honey, I wrap all my things up and I'm out of here, honey. I said, girl, she ain't using you, Miss Marlo, not at all. And as soon as she left away, Marlo talked so much trash on Eva. I said, so the old Marlo's back. This is nasty and crude. I said, oh, you wonder why people don't want to be bothered with you. Mess. And then I just watched that conversation with her and Cynthia. All the stuff about Nene. All she was doing was sitting there picking Cynthia. She's trying to pick Cynthia. Asking questions that she knew the answers for. You know, I can't stand that. I can't stand anybody to ask questions that they know the answer for and trying to pick to see what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is I'm going to cuss you out. That's what I'm going to say. Quit playing with me. You know, and that's what she was doing. I was like, mess. You talking to Cynthia and you talking to Nene. You need to go sit down. Because when it's all said and done, they ain't going to be speaking to you and then they'll be back speaking. Stupid. You better quit. You better leave it alone. Anyway, then we see Marlo go. She meets up with Nene. And she like reporting back to Nene. But she basically is trying to play good cop, bad cop and try to straddle the fence. But see, Nene's a bitch. So Nene ain't going for it, right? And Marlo, she said, you know, she was telling Nene about how Eva treated her when she was going to say, you know, I want my Bible that I gave her back. I said, who asks for a Bible? Of any gift that you're going to ask for a Bible? Really, Marlo? Girl, you're trash. Trash. You want the Bible back that you gave for the wedding gift. That's the best. Anyway. Whew. Anyhow. She was basically trying to stay somewhat neutral. And she made the mistake of saying to bitchy Nene, both of you were wrong about those interviews that you all did. Honey, Nene told her, you like that both, huh, don't you? Told her off, got up, and left her. I said, oh, honey, your petty is at an all-time high. And she following behind her. Now, Miss Leaks, walked right on out, got into a little carriage, and rode away from, I said, left you in there looking stupid with that sequin jumpsuit on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, honey. I said, you look crazy. Honey, in the broad daylight with that sequin jumpsuit on, honey. I said, girl, disco. Disco. Stupid. Anyway, so then we move over and we see Todd and Candy and little Ace. they go to see Shadina. They meet Shadina at her doctor's appointment. And Ace was so well behaved. He was so well behaved, and he gets it. Like he understands as much as he possibly can. He understands what's going on, and he named the baby. They said, "What do you want to name your baby sister?" So I like Blaze, and this week actually in real time, Blaze was actually born, and her name is Blaze. So again, I told y'all before that Ace is a star, honey. Ace is the star of the show over at the Tucker house, honey, the Tucker Burris place. Anyway, but they had Dr. Jackie. Hey, Dr. Jackie. See you feeling better, girl. Anyway, her mean self, honey. I like me some Mr. Dr. Jackie. But yeah, so everything is cool over there. Candy's worried though. Candy's bothered, and I know it's going to happen because Candy's soft. They're talking about the whole breakaway thing because, of course, they're getting attached to Shadina, and they're talking about like how literally when the baby's born, they're going to put Shadina in one room, they're going to put the baby in another room, they're going to literally separate them right away, and like Candy and them may never see her again. And Candy's like, well, wait a minute, just like that? I was like, girl, yeah, just like that. That's why people don't be wanting to be seeing. That's why K. Michelle's going through things she's going through now because she wants it to be that way. She doesn't want the attachment because she knows she ain't right. So, yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. Very strange process, but, it is. I guess it'll all work out. Moving on. Portia ended up going back to work. She actually took PJ to work with her on her first day. I was like, oh, okay, nice. Move on. Let's move on. You ain't doing nothing. That ain't nothing that other folks ain't done, honey, other than they ain't take their baby to work. Women have babies all the time, and and things don't be going right, and they pull themselves together, and they go to work. Okay, moving on. While at the clinic, Candy got a message from Kenya. And Kenya is like, can you come over? So it's like this urgent thing. So she basically told Todd to go ahead and take Ace and do something with him. And she was going to go see Kenya. So she goes on over to Kenya's. And this was the strange. Kenya is strange. And a lot of this has to do, and I hate that cliche when you say, oh, you got mommy issues. But she does. She has mommy issues and just family issues as a whole. So some of it you can see playing out, and I feel bad for her because the child don't know what to do with herself. She's a hot mess. She really is. She calls Candy there, and they get to talking. Now she's going to open up more about what's going on. And she told Candy, because this is weeks later from the first conversation they had, and tells her, whenever the thing came up for them to go, remember the whole conversation about her going away and the thing with the nanny, and maybe they'll take a nanny, maybe they won't. Mark didn't even go. He didn't even go. She went to Turks and Caicos and took the baby with her and just went by herself because it was his birthday and also their anniversary. And he didn't even go. It was her and the baby. I told you last week he don't like you, sis, didn't I? He don't like you, child. I would even stretch out. I throw some money on the table that he probably got another woman or whatever, got something occupying his time over there in New York, honey, because he don't like Kenya. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I said it, and I ain't saying no allegedly. That's just what I think. I think that he might got. I bet you got a chick on the side. No, you got a chick. You got a chick on the side. If it ain't a chick, it's a dick. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so she's talking about they had no sex. They ain't had no sex since she was 6 months pregnant. Do I need to sing another verse, honey? You got a chick on the side or a dick. Anyway, moving on. She was saying that the arguments that they have are kind of like crossing a line. And Candy said, girl, he must have called you out your name or something. She ain't answer. She said, over there, she crying and carrying on. Candy tried to console her, and she I said, that's strange. You called her to come to help you out, and you just so. I said that's strange, but that's a Kenyaism. I said okay. So then she was going on talking, basically saying how she really doesn't like confrontation with Mark because Mark don't know how to do confrontation. Mark ain't got no chill. Is basically what she's saying. And then they kind of showed in the confessional where the producer asked her about Mark's approach and his tone whenever they're having a disagreement. And she was saying, I can't talk about that. She's just completely avoided the question from the producer as well. And I said, this is giving me some deja vu. And it sounds to me like she's scared of him. It really does. It sounds to me like she's scared of him. And I'm like, this sounds like some of that Matt stuff all over again. But Matt, I felt more comfortable with her being with Matt because Matt would tear up stuff around her. I never seen Matt actually tearing her up. But for some reason, I see Mark tearing Kenya up. I just don't. I don't know. I don't think I care for Mark too much. I really don't. And again, Candy tried to console her, and she pulled away from Candy. She pulled away from Candy 3 different times, and then she made a statement about how she was the little girl that nobody protected, and she feels like she has to make sure that she protects Brooklyn from Mark. And I'm like, what? And Candy was like, huh? Things that make you go, And then she ended up walking away from Candy altogether. You invite her there, she's at your house visiting you, and you get up and leave and go into a room, and you in there crying, and they left her out there. I said, "Child, it's crazy." But she got mommy issues and intimacy issues, and period. She's got issues letting people love on her. You got issues, Kenya. You need to be at the counselor. You need to be at the counselor, and you need to be away from Mark too. Anyway, that's what I gathered. Y'all tell me what y'all think down in the comments. I don't like this Mark character at all. He's cute and all that, but I ain't no big Kenya fan. But no, sis don't deserve this. She don't. She don't. She deserves to be happy too. Like even when she's acting like a bitch and stuff like, she deserves to be happy. She don't deserve to be in no relationship with no man that she fears. Period.